I'm a partner at Advent, and I spend almost all my time investing in defense as well as in AI, and I look forward to a fun conversation with you, John.
Yep. So maybe go back to that slide and with all the different things you've invested in. So is there rhyme or reason to how you chose those? And you must have had a process. You didn't just you probably looked at many more opportunities. Maybe talk a little bit about some of these individuals and how you came to back them.
Yeah, our process was simple. I mean, our heritage has been investing in technology and growth. And, we looked at the market, and I'm not going to regurgitate a lot of the things that you already know around the peer threat and what is the elevated peer threat and what is happening in the world. But our process was to look at areas that are of strategic importance for national security, both the US government as well as our allied nations. And we tried to find assets that were, or companies that had great technology, but were lacking that delivery or performance, or there was something that we could come in and do differently. And so that's how we spent our time finding these investments. I'm not going to go through each one of them. There are about 20 of these, but a few areas that we've been very deep. We've spent a lot of time in electronic warfare. The relevance of that, Alex was just describing to you. We've spent a lot of time in space. We own one of the largest geospatial intelligence platforms in the world called Vantor that provides critical intelligence and solutions for the US government and allied nations. And so our whole pivot has been to find areas of strategic importance, helping accelerate innovation and build high growth companies off of that legacy IP and strong position that they have.
So if you were to map the technologies that you back, are there some that you double down on and some that you stay away from? And how do you select the ones that you want to double down on and the ones that you say, biological warfare, that's not us?
Yeah, I think, look, if I think about what's happening in the world today, right, the peer threat environment is extremely elevated. And we have this big challenge where we're learning from Ukraine and the conflict in the Middle East that the warfare has completely changed. We've gone from exquisite, high cost, multi-year, bespoke systems to affordable, mass, high volume, low cost. And the biggest challenge and opportunity in front of us today is that the industrial base is not prepared to address this big threat. I'm sure many of you know in the audience that you pick any area of strategic importance, whether it's shipbuilding, whether it's missiles and munitions, whether it's drones, the US government and allied nations, we're falling from a capacity standpoint, we're falling behind where China and Russia are. It's as simple as that. I mean, shipbuilding capacity in China is massively higher than where the US government is. And that's the biggest opportunity and threat. And sitting here at MIT, I feel very confident that we have the tech, we have the innovation, we have the brains, and frankly, a lot of changes that are now happening that are going to support what needs to happen. And so that's how we're coming at the opportunity. We just led the round at Shield AI, which is a big company in the autonomy space, and one of the co-founders of Shield will actually be speaking to you later today. But autonomy is a big area we're spending time on. Counter UAS, which is basically countering unmanned aerial systems. I think the last speaker gave the example of a Shaheed. We're using interceptors that cost several $1 million to counter the threat of a Shaheed drone that costs a few tens of thousands of dollars, maybe $30,000. That cost equation is not sustainable. And so we're trying to invest in technologies that are helping bridge this gap.
So Abhishek, let me ask you this. I know during the Cold War, there were a lot of spin-offs in the technology that helped society. Do you see the tens of millions, hundreds of millions, $1 billion that you put in having dividends beyond defense tech? At the end of the day, you are looking for a return on your investments.
Yeah, I think, look, we can play a very unique role because we started as a venture fund and we have a legacy of backing high technology companies. But we've spent the last 30 plus years perfecting how to scale companies, how to professionalize them, how to bring institutional capital to really bring them to their true potential. And then you couple that with this defense effort where you see these 20 plus companies where we've built relationships, networks around the US as well as the globe. And so our idea of putting $1 billion towards defense tech is leveraging all that expertise that we have, whether that's helping them expand customer bases in the US as well as internationally, whether that's scaling from a manufacturing standpoint, from a go-to-market standpoint, or whether, frankly, that's capital advice on how to scale and professionalize and exit and become a public company. Because I think the environment where we're in, capital can play a unique role, and a lot of these companies are going to need huge amounts of capital to scale that is available in the public markets. And we can play a transition role as they come out from early stage technology, venture backing, to an experienced investor who has a playbook to help scale and build sustainable long-term companies that can operate in the public markets.
My last question has to do with what trends are you seeing in certain technologies? Let's take drones and let's take AI. You know, a lot of the defense companies you may be working with were not AI first, but now they are having to figure out their AI strategy, and maybe some of the newer ones are AI first. Is AI helping to refine strategies? Is it helping to work hand in hand to scale? And in terms of drones, you know, I think of the iPhone 3 and how basic it was and where we are today with the latest additions. The drone has certainly evolved very fast. And I'm curious, you know, with the Shield AI investment, what are you seeing in drones today versus, you know, yesterday, and where do you see drone technology going? And I do think that has implications for physical AI, for our relationship with robots. So AI and drones, what are you seeing, and where's it going?
Yeah, and look, I would say the first thing we're seeing is we need to find ways to bring costs down. And we need to find ways to proliferate and higher volume, right? So some of the examples I give from Shield AI, their VBAT drone, which is a mid-sized drone used for intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance and targeting, you know, it's a fraction of the cost of some of the legacy $40-50 million systems. VBAT is a $1 million drone. It's AI piloted. It can take off vertically. It can work right at the battlefield off of a truck, or it can work off of a ship. It's much more agile. And those are the kinds of trends we're seeing, which is more exquisite systems that were much more costly can be replaced by AI piloted or AI-enabled hardware at lower cost and can serve the mission that we need today. Another example, again from Shield, is the XBAT, which is their low-cost version, but very capable fighter jet that they're trying to fundamentally reduce the cost of the F-35 and F-47 by the XBAT, which will be a $30 million jet relative to the $100 million that it costs to build an F-35, and estimates for F-47 are even maybe 2x of what F-35 was. And so Shield's XBAT is redefining the cost point of the fighter jet market. So those are the kinds of trends that we're seeing in the unmanned and AI space.
So I know I said that was my last question, but you know, this is off the record right now. Can you say something that's a little edgy that that you know that other people don't know? He doesn't know I'm asking this, so he may pass on this.
I won't say what's edgy per se, but what I will say is just, you know, we need change. A lot of good change is happening, but we need to fundamentally rethink how we procure, how we contract, how the governments buy these technologies. And as on the company side or the commercial industry side, someone said this, but we need to rethink how we actually are innovating and be comfortable failing and take bigger leaps and move quicker. The whole system of getting out every day, every week, we need to move faster. And what we've seen, if I can be critical, is that the old school defense mentality in many old companies where they were in consolidated markets, they got complacent. And what we're seeing in this defense tech moment is that complacency is getting challenged, that incumbent position and high market share is getting challenged. And so we're very excited to be an instigator and use our capital to help drive that transformation. And if we get that right, and frankly, we have to for national security purposes.
Yep. Great. Well, Abhishek, thank you. Who would like to meet with Abhishek before he leaves today? Because he has resources and he could maybe support you. So you have a lot of friends, and Catherine will be taking your photo out there if people want to talk to Abhishek concurrent with his photo shoot or after. Feel free to. But Abhishek, thank you for representing someone who's investing and giving a little light into that side of this.
Thank you, John.